instantly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so the text is good, is what you're saying.
Having
the text on by the rooms is good.
correct.
Okay. And the anything else before I ask specific questions?
So the text is good. I'm sure there could be more work on that to make it more streamlined, but that's a development issue that I do not doubt you will be handling. So
yeah. I had in terms of navigating rooms, I found it equal to the prior map. It wasn't better. It wasn't worse. I had no issues with it.
Okay. Anyone else?
No.
Okay.
Two small issues. I think the corpuscles should say survives together with contaminated character.
Yeah.
I don't know that contaminated character is going to survive after this weekend. So, but yes, that's for that's
but
fine note.
Yeah,
and one other note. Camera starts off on the map, and it's confusing.
At this, it should start on. Yeah, that's Matt already knows that. You mentioned that last time, and that needs to be fixed. It's not even the case in my mod; it's just the case in his mod.
For example, Hyde's victory points should say together with a downed human. Same reason. If Hyde ends up in a pod in the stasis generator with someone and they're down, you should get points.
The question is, should you get points? Because it's a lot easier to get into the stasis generator than it is to get into a pod.
Okay.
But I understand that all of that needs to be clarified.
Yep.
And I've already mentioned. I don't need any more feedback about the stasis field generator because all of that I know is issues that need to be solved.
Yep.
Okay. Moving forward, how do you feel about like the art style, particularly the dark background and everything related to it?
I think the background is a little too dark. I think it would be. It's hard to tell, like on the digital version, but I think it's a little.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just like that. I think the background art is really cool, and I think it gets lost a little bit. But
okay, that is exactly what was. That's why I didn't want to lead with that, or like ask a loaded question, or ask a leading question. Because we got the same comment last time, and I wanted to get more objective feedback on exactly that.
One more.
We tried to create more contrast between the actual things and the background, but it seems like that is people are losing the station from that. Which is why, if you for the people that haven't seen Matt's new map, that'll explain why the new map exists, or Matt's concept map exists.
Yeah, I suspect this might, in physical format, have more glare issues than a lighter map. It's fine digital, but I could see it having more, the dark spaces, light shines off, and it's harder to read.
All right, wait 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can change.
It might also, I don't know.
On the fly.
I don't know how much control you have over like the original like rendered image. Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
What do you think compared to that?
I need to look at it, but my initial impression is more confusing.
Yeah, I feel like this would hinder gameplay, though it does look more. It brings me into the theme a little more. But yeah, I would have to think more about that.
Well, the next game at 5 p.m. my time, we'll probably use this map. So I guess we'll.
Yeah, 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 I'd want to try it. It's not like oh my god, don't use it. But I do think like the vent.
This is the old map.
Yeah.
So that you can get a general idea, and then I can put it here.
A or B.
So that you can see both.
Or B.
Well, I'll put it here so that you can see both.
Like the tunnel rat vent things, obviously are temporary, but they're hard to read and parse.
events were always going to be a problem with this. When Matt and I were discussing this last night, I told him, the vents are going to be the issue. So we need to be obviously this is a concept. We need to work on it.
Yeah.
And the vents are the things that we need to work on the most. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I see what he's going for. So.
So and the idea being that the feedback was, we're losing the station with this layout. So we both kind of simultaneously came up with the idea of, well, what if we actually use the 3D model of the station?
Yeah.
Instead of just an overlay over the station.
You could also do, lots of games do this, right? The, like more schematic beginning side of the map and the what you're doing more thematic side of the map.
That's possible. I'll note it. I'll note it as an option.
There's plenty of games that have, here are the symbols so you can learn the game, and then here's the pretty map once you know the symbols.
Yeah, it can be on the other side.
Right. I mean, I know you want Matt's original art on the backside, but,
The bigger issue is just time, like working on 2 maps is also a problem because that's 2 maps that we have to work on.
That is very true. I mean, it could be as simple as this with the contrast turned up, right?
All right. So, but that's still like we have to, and then we have to, any changes we make to one map, we have to do to the other map. And
absolutely.
I have two things, maybe. I think on the command action, maybe that launch pod can be separated to 4th box.
To what?
A 4th box, he said.
It should be this action to be separated into 2 to be more clear.
I already mentioned that this is going to be a chit. This is going to be a chit that it's abandoned ship, and then when abandoned ship happens, you flip it over.
Okay.
And it says launch pods.
Makes sense?
Yes, that's gonna be a thing.
And I like how the X-Secret works now without manufacturing.
You don't like the way that it works now, is what you're saying. The way that it works now is that you have to manufacture the X-Secret, and you cannot peek in the cryolab. And you're saying that you don't like that. That's your feedback.
Yes.
Okay, noted. Anything else?
And one more.
As far as characters, there isn't really a lot that Jeff could have done other than obviously he's wanting to make one person win. So that's it for Jeff. But there's not a lot that people can do to stop Jeff from winning if he does win. Like because they can't obviously tell. I mean, maybe you can obviously tell that 2 people are trying to do the same thing. But yeah, so
right. And I was
you didn't reveal, so you didn't have to use your reveal. Your reveal power.
I have question on the symbiont.
I have lots of questions, but I was saving for the end.
Next to the possessed it, what did it mean?
I don't have any answers for you for the alien symbiont. So any questions that you have for the alien symbiont, write in the Stationfall channel.
Okay.
I don't know.
So I mean, obviously, if the people with the artifact are getting stopped, like say they get shot, then that's when I have to use my reveal, and that's the way to stop me, right? Is the way to stop me is have people not holding the artifact win, and as it happens, the 2 people with the artifact were in the lead, so there wasn't much that could be done, but that it happened to fall out that way. I noticed that Peter was going for the artifact early, so I just sort of tried to subtly help him without making it too obvious. And conveniently, the other person who got to the pod was also doing well, so it worked out well.
All right. So Matt, I'm going to stop you for a second because Matt is answering questions now. They can't. So related to the other stuff, the billionaires bribes. Hello.
Hey, Matt.
How's it going?
Good.
All right. So Matt, let's go over. Let's do the symbiont now. So Jeff, what were the symbiont questions that you had?
Okay, so my first big question is, the symbiont has a cube limit, but it's irrelevant because if my host gets a good score, then I win and I could use all my cubes. Is that correct?
What a great question. Yes, that is exactly correct as it currently reads. And I'll fix that.
The larger question is, like, next question is, if the host is Jekyll Hyde and it's an NPC, can I pick either victory condition?
Symbiont.
This is why we need to test the aliens. This is why we purposely seeded the aliens to be played.
Jekyll Hyde. I'll say yes, but regardless, I need to clarify because it's not. It's not.
And my third big question is, and this is a question, I guess this is more of a comment. So if it's an NPC, the NPC is not going to score bribes or compromat or any of that stuff. So it is harder to win if an NPC ends up with the artifact, it seems to me. Because I never score mine.
Yes, I understand. I'm just making the note because I agree, and
I don't know that that's a problem, because like in this game I had no problem winning because two people wanted the artifact and they were both doing well. So I don't know that it needs to be changed, but just it was something that occurred to me when I got the card.
Yes, that is something I'll have to consider that has not been considered.
And my question is...
Peter.
It says human or robot possessing artifact or next to possess it. It means in the artifact location I can pick anybody to be my host.
No, I think if I reveal and no one owns the artifact, the next person to pick it up becomes the host.
Yes, I think I had to put that language in because the first officer used to be able to out people, and I didn't want I needed language to cover that. But it's possible I can get rid of that now that the first officer doesn't out people anymore. So
now that the first officer is boring.
Been complaining about boring first officer since the beginning of time.
No, I haven't been complaining about a boring first officer. I've been complaining about a broken first officer.
Oh,
he's no longer broken. Now he's boring.
Okay.
Instead of fixing the problem, he just removed it entirely.
You need the tunnel builder character so they can literally be a boring character.
All right, Matt, I had a lot of questions about this stupid stasis field, which at first I was annoyed that we got the stasis field generator again, but I guess it's a good thing that we did because there was a lot of issues with it. Number one, this doesn't count as a pod, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Number two, survives and escapes. When people are in the stasis field generator, they escape?
Yes.
Okay, so this needs to be changed from survives to escapes.
Sure.
In that case, can data be sent out or be sent in?
Data
can't be sent out.
Data can be sent in according to the card, but it cannot be sent out. But I mean,
so the legal bug could just the legal bug could just be sending data in there, and then it could be deleting it, and then it could be sending data in there again.
Yes. Well, I think I'm going to have to if the bubble survived at all, then it's going to have to just be straight escape. It's going to have to, like I mentioned before, act more like a teleporter than a bubble. And
I was going to say that I feel like there are many issues with this where what it should be is as soon as you go in here, it's just you do one of these things and you're done with that character.
Yes, just like
there's a lot of issues with that. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of issues with that, like with killing people, with doing stuff like bribing people in there.
I don't disagree. Right. Consider it done.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Just so you know, I was going to tell you all this anyways, but since you're in here, this is the contamination. I put little red discs on the things because it would be impossible to track otherwise. That worked better. But we still missed things as experienced players.
Yeah,
we still missed contamination, and it was a lot of upkeep for the possibility that nobody even cared about contamination.
One suggestion was only spread where if you end movement with someone, because there was a lot of running through a room and infecting people.
Yes. Okay. Well,
as you can tell, most people were infected. Most people were infected, as you can see. I feel like that's gonna happen. Like you're just gonna have
My suggestion that contamination only spread if the contaminated character moves, not when somebody goes around or something like that.
Oh yeah, sure. That makes sense.
Only if you activate the contaminated character, or only if they move.
Yes.
Matt already knows my suggestion, so I'm not gonna...
Yes, which is delete the whole thing, and I'm still leaning towards that. Was it
I mean, the people here thought it was thematic. Jeff thought it was thematic, but like it's a lot of upkeep for something that people may not even care about.
Yeah, I certainly, yeah. I mean, yeah. I said I liked it. I said it was thematic. I acknowledge the upkeep. It certainly is something to keep track of. So.
Okay. I'm probably still leaning towards getting rid of it, but it's going to take a lot of work to get rid of it. All right. What else?
Well, so the questions that I asked. This is blah blah blah.
Yes,
if legal make themselves a suspect? If I'm legal bot, can I commit a crime to make myself a suspect to gain a point?
You can commit a crime, sure, to do that, but you won't be able to lawyer up to do it.
Right, sure.
But like it says here, 1 BP for each suspect player at the end of the game. So the question is, can I does that include me?
Yes, as it reads, it clearly includes you. However, maybe it shouldn't include you, but
no.
Well, let me tell you right now that the legal bot is still garbage. It's I got 5 points as a legal bot, and I specifically took the legal bot so I can test it myself. I didn't tell anybody else about it, but I did that, and I got a point for Jack Bribe. Oh, that's another question I'm going to ask in a second. A point for a Jack Bribe, a point for my own bribe, 2 points for the bonus character. So that was 1 point that I got from legal by itself. All of my other points came from generic points, or not legal points.
Okay.
I had a bunch of NDAs out, but they were easily deleted, and people were able to escape without needing to get an NDA, which happened last game as well.
Yes.
Everyone escaped without needing an NDA.
Yeah, I killed legal twice.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if I can still buff the points or something like that. But
also, the legal I revealed as a legal bot early because I don't see any point in remaining hidden if I'm handing out NDAs with the legal bot. As soon as I start handing out NDAs with the legal bot, very obvious I'm the legal bot. So there's no point in not revealing immediately.
I agree and understand.
And this conspiracy power is also garbage. I never used that because no one got bribed. One person got bribed near the end of the game, but so I wasn't able to do anything extra. On top of when I revealed, I got no benefit from it, but I had to reveal because obvious.
Because everyone would have known who you were. All right, got it.
And I also think that his ability that collocated PC is change the status is very hard to reach.
Honestly, I don't see why I would ever give out NDAs when I can make people guilty.
Okay.
I think that's I feel like obviously I can zap data around and that's easier, but that data can be deleted. Whereas if I make somebody, and it didn't happen, but I didn't do that action at all. I never tried to make anyone a suspect because I was trying to move data around, and then eventually I realized just how easy it was to get rid of data. And that
was from the PC delete action. Is that true?
Yes, that was from the PC delete.
Interesting. I've never seen that action used before.
Well, Peter used it, and more off. So here's
Yeah,
here was my
because
thinking.
I
I
have
want to give NDA
nothing
to
else
people.
to do.
I want to give NDA to people that will survive, right?
Mhm.
So I want to give it to the people that I know are people that want to survive. And the easiest way to do that is giving it to PCs. Obviously, I know
Who can
now
immediately
that's not a
delete
thing
it.
you want to do because
Right.
they delete it. So you want to give it to, I guess, bonus characters that want to survive. But even then, that's such a, you have to deduce who the bonus characters are and then give the NDA to them.
Yeah,
The alternative is just
Um,
dapping NDA to everybody,
and-
but that's also really hard.
I understand, Andy. I think at a minimum, I'll probably make all pod launch require an NDA. So not just setting a timer, but any and all pod launching. And I think that will make the lawyer robot really important in the game. There may be other
That's
ways to
probably
survive,
yes.
but they're not going to be a ton of them. And
We'll see. The first officer was here, and they needed to launch the pod to survive. And I told them, well, the legal bot was already down. But I feel like nobody wanted to revive the legal bot to get an NDA. But we'll see. I'd like to try that perhaps next game if somebody is the legal bot, which I think we should stack that deck to check that out because that's an issue. Otherwise. I mentioned the radioactive. If we're not the radioactive, the bio whatever, the contamination. If somebody is at their carry limit and they get contaminated, what happens?
yes, we discussed that in the thing, and I think the idea is that you would get the contamination marker regardless, and you would not be able to pick anything up until you cleared the spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that once again, all of this assumes contamination sticks around, and I'm aware
Right.
of the issue, and we'll see.
There's some wording along with a lot of these things were like co-located. If you possess the thing, just all of that is dependent on what you do with the stasis field and a bunch of other things. So I'm not even going to mention it right now.
Fair enough.
I will also point out in this game, Andy revealed early, which we can argue with, that probably made sense. But at that point, both me and Peter were interested in him not scoring points. So Peter went after him directly, and I was sort of trying to subtly make it harder to get him back. So it was it was a particularly tough game because there were, two people trying to stop people who whose identities were known.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I can think of that I would have done differently is not revealed as legal, and instead try to force people to commit crimes with the cameras on. But I don't have a lot of agency there. I become I can't do it myself.
The first officer becomes your best friend in that situation because he can get the evidence which you need for legal points and also can make people into suspects, which is useful. But but regardless, I get your point, and I've made it.
I also wanted to add, just thematically, it seems to me with the legal bot in the game that there should be like if I get back and I don't have an NDA, that could be bad for me, right? Like whether I get off the station is one thing, but whether I get to leave my life without being hounded by the corporation's lawyers, is something else.
That's interesting. But
how about if you escape, you become guilty unless you have if you escape, you become guilty unless you have the NDA. I don't know.
Maybe or maybe suspect, because that would play
suspect doesn't matter.
Yeah, but just
it does.
Yeah.
Suspect does matter because when you escape doesn't mean the game ends.
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea, but for now I'm just going to scribble it down. Has anyone had the chance to look at the map at the new weird map?
Yeah, Andy brought up
the one that is over here.
He's not in our game.
Oh, yes, it's currently in the mod, Matt.
Yes, yes. I went ahead and went all in on it.
And we have
no, I mean it's currently in the mod now that we're playing with. If you already put it in the mod, otherwise then yeah. No, I didn't play with the map. That's not what I mean. Obviously, we were already halfway through the games, but I put it in the mod so people can see it. Is what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Is it? Did you update it? So if I clicked,
I think it's been updated, and it's even been updated with life pods that have NDAs on the flip side, NDA requirements on the flip side of it. But
Oh, nice.
it is not. I just loaded it, and it is not loading. If you updated it in the public mod.
You need to restart TTS to see it.
Okay. Then I'm not going to do it because everyone will just.
Yeah.
And we also have problem with the billionaire bribes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so thank you for reminding me, Peter. So the billionaire's bribes, when you jack it, is it the character that jacks it?
Yeah, it's the
And
character.
if that is the case, okay, so then who gets that point?
The character.
What if an NPC
So you
jacks
can.
it?
Just like any bribe, bribes end up on NPCs all the time. Nothing changes about the way bribes score.
So in order to score points with the billionaire's bribes, you have to jack it with a PC.
Yes.
Okay, so you made the only way to get points outside of your own conditions harder. Like I would have even less points.
I don't.
Because I would need to use the legal. I would need to use the legal bot to jack the billionaire.
I don't know all. I don't know the extent of all that, but I wanted bribes to work just like any other bribes.
What are bribes? Are bribes like they're not an item? They're not data.
Right, they're crypto transactions.
So they are data.
So
No, 'cause you
if
can't
the
copy them.
billionaire is down they cannot be taken or no?
Correct, cannot be taken.
Right. They're not data because they can't be copied.
Okay, so you need to figure out what bribes are because there's going to be confusion there where people are wondering like what are bribes? How do they work? Because you can jack a bribe, but like then it goes to the character.
You can
Right, but it's
only
not an
jack
item
a
and it's
bribe.
not data.
The only bribe you can jack in the entire game is on the billionaire, and that's only because of the
Yes.
special ability on the billionaire. So it's not. This is not a common thing. This is only special to the billionaire.
It's going to be the case anytime the billionaire's in the game. So we need to settle this. If somebody jacks the bribe, where does it's not data? It's not an item. It goes on. It goes on the character, just like a bribe would go on the character.
Yes.
And it can't. Once a character has a bribe, it can't be jacked from them, and that character is going to get that point at the end of the game. And you can't hand the bribe to somebody else. So if you want to get points from the bribe, you have to jack it as the NPC. And if you reveal, then you know if you do it with an NPC and then you reveal as the PC, then you get it.
Yep.
But
I have
there are
one
issues there are
suggestion.
issues with making the only way to get points outside of your condition even harder, but it is what it is.
I have one suggestion because right now the bribes can be considered as a bunch of money to our pocket. So the billionaire bribes can be renamed to Bitcoin bribes to make it more clear.
To make it more clear that it's
That is not the item, and they cannot be taken by normal ways.
okay. Maybe I can do that. I'm not sure. I'm worried about renaming it anything other than bribe, but maybe I'll make the point.
Well, when the billionaire reveals, they can use it as bribes. So
Yes, but
You
that's
can't
part of
rename
their reveal ability. Yes.
Yeah,
Right,
it should
but I'm saying you have to call it
it
a
should
bribe.
be named Bitcoin bribe.
Okay.
to
I'll
specify that it is different than another kind of bribe.
yeah. I'll have to. I've made the note, Peter. I'm not sure how to make that work, but I've made the note regardless. And that says right now the ability says the jacking character can take a gray bribe
Yeah,
instead of an item.
I think this is a discrepancy between what the rules actually say, and the rules are quite accurate, and what player expectations are, which may
Gotcha.
vary because they see a counter on a card.
Yes, I get it. And once upon a time, these were going to be briefcases full of cash or something, but I couldn't get them to work that way. Can you hand it to me?
I updated that strategy tips to include a bit more.
Okay, thank you. I need to go in there and like rewrite
Yep.
things and make it concise.
So-
But definitely go in there yourself and do anything you like.
So I have a broader comment, which is this is the first Stationfall game I've played which did not involve mass death, and maybe I just got 3 chaotic games, but this definitely there was a lot more maneuvering and thinking and in it, as opposed to raw chaos. And I don't know what the ratio is, but I liked this.
Okay.
There's a reason. There's a reason why that happened. It's because of the characters that I included in the game. There was no test subject. There was no engineer.
Right.
There was no there were a lot of chaotic characters that were not in the game. So if you like that type of game, have a you can have a less chaotic game by adding less chaotic characters in the game. That is primarily why that happened. There were no characters that cared about people dying. Like there were 0 characters that cared about people dying. There wasn't a daredevil in the game. There wasn't no one in the game cared about people dying.
Right, and thus
So that's
people
why
only,
there wasn't that.
yeah, and people only which and so I would
fine.
say vastly, because it's not like people weren't attacked. It just was,
I think that's personal preference. If you want to play a game like this, then yeah, you're welcome to just use less chaotic characters, and
Okay.
that's your game. I don't feel like we need to, I don't feel like chaotic games are bad. I don't mind games where people are constantly dying, but I understand that that's personal preference, and that's why we have that ability to.
It also
request.
depends if the chaotic characters are dealt to the players or they are just NPC.
Yeah, the PCs have to be chaotic characters, but obviously, if you don't have them in there, you can't have PCs that are chaotic characters. All right. Anything else, particularly from the new player? Any other feedback that you have related to anything that seemed counterintuitive?
No, I mean, I think I had a very kind of limited experience, so I'm a little hesitant to say too much. But I think,
But first impressions are very important. Like if there was anything that seemed like it didn't make sense, or seemed like it didn't work the way that it was supposed to, or was confusing, or
yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun. I think the rule book, and I know it's in kind of a rough form right now, but I think this little where's this document? Like the what to do at the beginning document on the bottom left. I think that's very helpful.
yeah, Peter wrote that. By the way, Matt, this should be in the game.
It should.
I
Yeah.
put it in every game for that reason.
All right.
Also, the cards are going to have little strategy tips on them as well. And by what I mean by strategy tips, it's literally just your character cares about the artifact. This is where the artifact is. Or you care about people surviving. You need to go to the bridge to make people survive, to do a bandit ship and launch people. Like simple stuff like that. Not, this is what you should be doing. Just this is more information about how you do the things you should be doing.
Yeah, because like as the stranger, I wasn't sure. Like I mean, some of these are very clearly like I can imagine the movie character this would play. For the stranger, it was like, okay, I guess what's my main motivation here? And I guess it's like escaping with this.
And Matt, we could talk about this later, but I think that you should be using the new layout. We should be using the table cards and the character cards for any changes that you make going forward, so that we can have that available and we can test that. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yes, we'll talk about that later.
That reminds me. I don't think we had any issues with Compromat pickup issues. Lots of early players did not even bother to pick up Compromat. It was generally a low Compromat game, but it didn't feel inappropriate, out of control, or overpowered or anything.
Great.
So to the new player, this would be, and to I guess anyone else, this would be what your card would look like if it's your identity card. So if you're choosing this as your bonus, you would turn this upside down, and then the only thing you would care about is that.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah. I'm gonna not have this. Just put this like that, and then you would only see this stuff up here, and then this would have. We would move the victory condition up, but like this would have like tips of like you're the exile. Should try to pick up as many compliments as you can. With your comparison power, you can use compliment without losing it. Try hard to survive and help survive other players survive. So it's not really telling you anything like super strategic. It's just more information about what you should be doing.
Yep. Yeah, that looks generally good. I might
And then,
like different, like maybe some different background colors to break up, the.
Oh
three
yeah,
sections.
yeah. Don't worry about the art. Is not what I'm concerned about. In fact, if Matt uses this, I would want him to use not this art, just because I don't actually even like this art. He would use just his regular light. And then with this, the other difference is that we would have less information on the character card, and then only reveal the extra information when that character reveals. Because there's a lot of information that you don't need to know, and is very. And I'm talking about for beginner players. That's why I'm specifically talking to the beginner player. You would have only the information that you need to know right now, and then when it reveals, you would have more information so that you aren't overloaded with any information. Now, obviously, you can choose to play with this side always. You can make that. We can't force you to put this face down. You can, if you want to have all the information available all the time, you are welcome to. But this is for people that feel like there's way too much happening and I want less stuff. The same thing with the rooms. You mentioned this was discussed again, like how these would work. And Matt, people are still confused by work life support and rear life support. So that wording needs to be worked on or removed entirely. But we would put like just blank rooms there to remove information that we don't feel is essential for like a first time game. And I guess I should ask the new player that. Did you feel like there was too much information in the game and it would have been better if there was less information? At least for a first time play.
I mean, I think for the first time, I think there was a lot of information, but I think I don't know. I like denser games, so I think I picked it up pretty quickly. I think, and I had a character that was fairly simple. Having the motivations on the card like this, I think, is very useful. Like even I don't even know this little box here with the like try to pick up as many combats. Like I think you could even simplify that. Just be like things you want, things you don't want, and just have like quick bullets.
Yeah, this was again work done by Peter. Thank you, Peter, to add a little bit of so that first time players, when they're playing the game, they aren't completely lost.
Right.
They at least have some information about what they should be doing.
Right.
It's the same thing with this. It's to like so they're not completely lost. There is some some very basic information about like what to do during the game for first-time players. Obviously, if people don't want to use that, if they want to discover it on their own, they're welcome to. But it's a hard game, and we are trying to introduce this to not the usual Matt Eklund.
I would also say if you have, it might be good to have suggested like first-player characters.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a starting setup of characters that are meant specifically for a first-time play, and I've been testing that. I've tested that maybe between like 6 and 10 times now. We didn't play with that, and that's why I apologized earlier. Even though you were a player, we kind of put you in the deep end because there was a lot of things that we needed to test that I would normally not test with a new player. So
no, it's fun. I'd love to play this again now that I kind of know a little more what I'm doing.
Sure. Well, we have another game at 5.
Yes, that's right. In 5.5 hours. So,
we have another game in 5.5 hours. So if you wanted to join again, you're welcome.
Later this week.
Yeah, and we'll be doing playtests regularly. Just when is useful for you, and we'll make that happen. Same thing with everyone else. Obviously, we still need to do playtests as often as we possibly can, without burning everyone out. Obviously, so if you if you can join, and if there's a particular time that you think like, oh, I have 2 or 3 hours free, including like feedback and stuff like that. So on this day at this time, let me know, and I will set up an event and see if we can get a game going.
Yeah, I'm going to keep trying to do one a week on Saturday or Sunday morning. So if you keep scheduling those, I should be able to sign up.
That's
Jeff,
awesome.
Jeff, this was made specifically for you.
Thank you.
This
I appreciate
time,
it.
I'm waking up at 7 a.m. specifically for you.
I appreciate it, especially on the daylight savings time day. So it was particularly harsh.
Yeah. But I'll continue to do that just to make sure that people can play the game when they can play the game. All right. I think that is all. If you have any more feedback, please post in the Stationfall channel, or send to whoever you like if that is more useful for you. But Stationfall channel is an ideal place. And thank you very much for playing.
Thanks very much.
Yes.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Good notes.
Goodbye.